Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Lilo N Stitches. I am your yarn host Jennifer, and today we got a tutorial for this cute hat. Alright, I made 2 of them, and I'm going to sit down and make a 3rd one. This hat is very simple. It's not very simple. There are difficult parts of this hat. There are new stitches you're going to have to learn. This is not an easy or beginner friendly pattern, but that does not mean if you are a beginner you should not try, because I walk you through everything. I show you up close. I try to go as slow as possible to show you what the stitches look like. Alright, this hat starts off as a granny square. Starts off as a granny square, and then we turn the granny square into a beautiful hat. And this was the prototype, which is not as perfect as the one on my head, this is the one I made in the tutorial, because on here I ran into some things that I changed. Like right here, I changed this up a little bit, and then I ran out of yarn, so I had to use a different yarn entirely because I didn't realize I had more of this yarn in my stash. So this hat is beautiful. It's very Christmassy, but it doesn't have to be Christmassy. You can absolutely change the color so it's non-Christmas yarn and just have a really beautiful winter hat with little bits of holes. Well, those aren't in this one. There is, like I said, it starts with a granny square on top, so there's a little bit of ventilation for those of you that get hot like I do, but it still is a very warm and beautiful hat. There are lots of stitches in here that you may be unfamiliar with, because I learned this one. This is brand new to me. This is herringbone half double crochet moss stitch that I learned from Jan Crochet. So it's beautiful, it's fun, it gives it a little bit of texture and like interest right there. And then this is half double crochet in the 3rd loop only. Everything else is easy. If you can learn these 2 stitches, you got the hat very well, and I walk you through everything. We do the whole thing together in the tutorial, and I'm not going to talk very much more, but what you need is a solid color. And I used a variegated yarn with it. These are both Premier Yarns. This is Premier Yarns, just £1 for $5 from the Dollar Tree. And this is the Premier Basics Multi in the color Mary. That's about how much I used for this hat. Didn't take much at all. If you have spare white and spare Christmas yarn, you can make this hat. It doesn't take a whole lot of either color, but yeah, there's lots of new Christmas yarns on the market and some old favorites. So pull out your Christmas yarns or non-Christmas yarns. I do say in the tutorial, this would be beautiful with like a blue variegated yarn instead of the red, white, and green. But it would also be beautiful with like a black yarn with neons in there, or even white with the neons. Lots of color, lots of texture, lots of interest. Let's go down to the table. Alright, let's get started. So to get started, I'm using a 5.5mm crochet hook, and because I always get asked every time I use this beautiful hook, this is a Merit hook. They're available on Amazon. They are linked in my Amazon store now. Let's get started. I am using the Premier just £1 because I've been using this big behemoth in everything. This is the yarn that was available at the Dollar Tree for $5 for a pound of yarn, which is a fantastic deal. I am also using the secondary color Premier Basics Multi in the color Mary, which when I was working this hat last night, funny story, ran out and had to switch to another yarn down here. Didn't realize I had a whole stash of this hiding somewhere else. So let's get started. The start of this hat is a very simple, we are starting, the top of the hat is it's a granny square, but we're adding an extra little detail in here, and this reminds me of roses growing up the side of lattice. So we're going to start off with the granny square on the top. Could not be easier. We're going to be holding 2 yarns throughout the entire hat. So we're going to be, both yarns are going to get attached and stay attached, so we don't have extra ends to weave in. Now, to get started, we are going to make a magic circle. If you just cannot deal with a magic circle, you could do like a chain 3 or a chain 4 for the center. But magic circles are honestly just slip knots. Okay, so just the way you would normally make a slip knot, chain 3. That's our first double crochet, and then we're just, instead of closing the slip knot, you just work in the slip knot. So we need 2 more double crochets. This is starting off like every other granny square. Chain 2, 3 double crochets, and the slip knot slash magic circle. 3, chain 2. That's our corner. You pull this tail a little bit tight just to close the circle a little bit. Put 3 more double crochet. You hear snoring noises in the background. That is Oreo. Chain 2 again. 3 more double crochet. Followed by a chain 2. Pull your tail tight. And I always slip stitch over the top of the tail just to bring it to the top. So it's easier to weave in later. Slip stitch to join. This is what your first row looks like. Basic granny square. Now this is where things are going to get a little bit crazy. We're getting crazy now. We got to untangle this little mess right here. Now it was just perfectly fine, and then I moved it one too many times, and now it's knotted. We're going to connect this in to this next row. For the top part of the hat, it's going to be a row of granny, and then this row, which is a decorative row and does not actually do anything spectacular, okay? I am going to make a slip knot here so it's easier to connect. Alright, now what we did is we slip stitched into the chain 3 right here. We need to connect this colored yarn right here in the next one. So in the center of these 3, we need to connect it right here of the 3 double crochets, okay? So to do that, I am going to see how I put this on my hook. Okay, I'm going to attach this over here with a slip stitch, and then I'm going to slip through the white just so that everything is held together right there. See how I did that? We're going to chain 1 and we're going to single crochet in that same stitch. Okay, it's not super complicated. Now we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. We're going to go to that corner and put a single crochet. Chain 3. Go to the center of the square here, this one right here. So skip this double crochet, and in this double crochet put a single crochet. Chain 3. Go over to the corner, which is the chain 2 space. Put a single crochet. Chain 3. Skip the next double crochet, and in the middle of this shell put a single crochet. Do that all the way around. Chain 3. In the corner put a single crochet. Chain 3. In the center of this block put a single crochet. Pull my hair out of there because I'm constantly weaving my hair into stuff. Chain 3. Go to the corner, single crochet, chain 3, and then we're back around to the beginning, that very first single crochet, the slip stitch into it. Okay, grab your white yarn. Now this is where it's going to get a little weird. Okay, we're going to ignore this row that we just did. We're going to crochet over the top of it. Alright, and we are only working in the corners of the very first row, here and here and here and here. Okay, so those 4 corners, this is where we are putting our stitches. You see that? Stick your fingers in them holes and stretch them out if you need to, if you're having trouble seeing. Alright, make sure that colored one is kind of tight. Alright, now grab your white, wrap it like you're going to do a double crochet, because that's what we're doing, and go into this first corner right here. Do a double crochet, do 2 more double crochets in that same stitch. We're working in the hole over the top of the colored part. Chain 2. 3 more double crochet in that same chain space. Just like we're doing a regular granny shell. We're just ignoring that colored part. Okay? See how we did that? Just pretend it's a regular old granny. That's all we're doing. Now, we're going to go around here to this corner. See this white spot? Skip over the shell. Skip all, just ignore that. And then over the top of everything, just put 3 double crochet. Chain 2, 3 double crochet, all in that chain 2 space of the very first row. 2, 3. See how that looks? Then we're going to go over and skip to that third corner, which is, again, that chain 2 space of the first row. We're going to put 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, all in that corner. Chain 2, 3 double crochet. Go to our fourth corner, same thing. Find that fourth corner. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, all in the same stitch. Alright, now, this spot over here where the green connects to the white, we're going to slip stitch into that. Just like that. Alright, that's technically row 3, but we're not counting, I mean, it's row 3. But this colored row doesn't actually count as a row because it's just kind of a decoration we're putting in there. Right now we need to drop the white. Try to keep your colored on one side of you and your white on the other side of you so they're not twisting and tangling during this part, okay? Drop the white, pick up the colored. We're going to just join it like that and pull the white tight. Alright, now we're going to go over to this. Let me lay this flat so you can see. This is a shell, this is a shell. Shell, 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 shell. In the center of those shells, we're going to do exactly like we did. We're going to go over just one stitch and do a single crochet. We're going to chain 3. And we're going to go to the corner, which is this open space. Single crochet. Chain 3. And in the center of the shell, so skip this next double crochet, and in the center, put a single crochet. Chain 3. Skip this space entirely. So we're going to skip this double crochet and this double crochet, and in the third one, right here in the center of this shell, put a single crochet. Chain 3. In the corner, put a single crochet. Chain 3. In the center of this block, put a single crochet. Chain 3. Skip the center part and go over to this block, and in the middle of that block put a single crochet. Chain 3. Go to the corner, put a single crochet. Chain 3. Center of this block, put a single crochet. Chain 3. Skip over to this block, in the center of that block put a single crochet. Chain 3. Go to the corner. Chain 3. Center of this block. Chain 3. Slip stitch to that first single crochet we made of the row. Slip stitch to join. Drop that one to that side. Pick up your white. Okay, now we're going back to that corner again. See the corner? We'll lay it flat. My light is a little bit there. Maybe that'll help. Right, so now, just like a regular old granny square, we're ignoring the colored. We're going to work in the corner here. We're going to work in this section here, in the corner here. So in between the blocks, of the previous row, not the colored row, that's where we're working the granny. Okay, let me see, 1, 2, 3. All right, just making sure I'm keeping track of my rows. So grab the white, wrap it like you're making a double crochet, go into the corner, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet over the top of the colored yarn, chain 2, do it again, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet in the corner. Pull your stitches apart if you need to, if you can't find where this stitch is, right here. Okay, over the top of this part, we just right over the top of everything. Just put 3 double crochet because it's just a regular old granny square with a decoration in there. Okay, go over to the corner, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. We're gonna do this all the way around. If you know how to do a granny square, this should not be difficult for you. You should very easily be able to identify where your stitches go. Now this hat is not, we're going over here, skipping this block, going over here. This is not super easy. This is more of like a moderate pattern, just because we're introducing some new ideas. But you should be able to do it no matter what your level of expertise is. You should still be able to make this hat. Just take your time and be patient with yourself. If you make mistakes, it's okay. I made mistakes making this hat. So we're in the corner, so we're doing 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Go into the next block over and putting a granny shell. Now we're going over to the corner and putting an increase, which is 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Next block, which is our last block, put a granny shell, just 3 double crochet. Slip stitch to join, grab your colored yarn, drop the white, pick up the green, join it in, go over to the next center of the block, so just skip one over, put a single crochet there. Okay, see how we did that? Chain 3, go over to the corner, put a single crochet, chain 3, the center of the block here, chain 3, that was a single crochet, and we're just doing the center of the blocks again. Hey, Oreo is snoring loud. Chain 3, now we're in the corner, so we're going to put a single crochet there too. That's what that should look like. I'm going to move my yarn because it's snagging on another hat that's on my desk. Pull out some more yarn so I'm not fighting it. Alright. Chain 3. Center of the blocks only, please. Center of the blocks and the corners. Chain 3. Center of the block. Picked up another hair somewhere. I know your hair is strong when it refuses to break. Chain 3, single crochet in the center of the blocks, chain 3, put a single crochet in the corner, all around the granny square we're putting single crochets, chain 3 and skip the next, we're making yarn. Alright, it's really not difficult at all. Now, I am going to tell you right off the bat, I have a big head. The one I'm showing you in the tutorial is going to be for an average size head, which is about 21 inches, 22 inches. Chain 3, slip stitch to the very first single crochet of the row. I am actually going to add an extra row of the granny squares because I have a big head. And the one I made, this one, is a little bit on the small side for my head. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Alright, we have one more row to go. I have 2 more rows to go. You have 1 more row to go. I will walk you through that. Alright, now just like we did before, we're going to slip stitch that white in to join it. I'm going to go into that corner and put 3 double crochets. 2, 3 double crochets. We're just repeating the same row. The only difference is every row will have an extra block on each side. We're just doing like we did every other white row as we're doing the granny. Doing the granny, doing the granny. Just do your granny shells all the way around. Now what makes this hat not an easy pattern and more of a moderate pattern, corner, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, is that there are a lot of different rows that we're adding in. That's what just makes it a moderate instead of an easy pattern. It's just that there's a lot of changes. And there's a couple of stitches in here you may have never heard of, like this one. And there's another stitch that is coming up that is going to be a stitch I never heard of until last night when I was designing this. I was like, well, we're going to put that stitch in because it looks cool. Just continue making a granny shell all the way around. Now you may notice some people put a chain 1 in between their granny shells and I do not. That is a personal preference thing. I feel like that chain 1 in between the blocks makes the holes bigger, and I don't care for that. I would rather my blocks be close together, the granny shells. So that's why when you see me do a granny stitch anything, I don't put that chain 1 in between, because I would rather these holes be smaller rather than bigger. And if you are putting those chain 1s in and I didn't tell you to, your hat's going to be bigger, because you're adding a whole bunch of extra stitches that I didn't add in. So just keep that in mind. That is something to remember. Isn't that a Madonna song? Something to remember. I think that's from that baseball movie. That was a good movie. I can't think of the name of it right now. Seen it 100 times. Don't remember the name of it. I'm sure you guys are going to put in the comments what it is. Alright. It's got Gina Davis and Madonna in it. It's our last granny block. I'm going to go over here and slip stitch where the white joined in. I'm going to drop the white, pick up the colored, and we're going to do exactly like we have done every other row. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, we're going to do this row where we add the color. I am personally going to add another row of the granny and another row of the color to make the hat for larger heads like myself, which is 23, 24 inches. If you have a regular head, just add the color on, and I will pause and come back when I finish my extra row. But if you have someone who has a larger head and you think that this hat needs to be bigger than this size, we'll figure that out together when we get there. But I'm going to pause because you already know how to do this. Make your single crochet here, chain 3, go to the corner, single crochet, chain 3, go to the block, go in the middle. You know how to do that. Do this colored row if you're making an extra large size hat for 24 inch head, or you just have a lot of hair and you need a bigger hat. Do another row of the white and another row of the colored on top of this. So colored, white, colored, and I will meet you at the end of that. Actually backtrack before you before we do go too far, you don't need that extra colored row, and I'm sorry, I messed up. I will try to cut that out. So Jen, if you remember, cut that part out. If I forget to cut that part out during editing, because I will forget, I know this, we need to end in the white, not in the colored row, but it's fine. If you put that colored row on there, it's fine. It's not going to make a difference. I mean, it kind of will, frog it back. If you have the colored on the outside, I screwed up, I'm sorry. Alright, so what we're going to do in this row, so for you, you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, if you're making a small hat, 4 rows with the colored in between. I have 5 rows with the color in between. And what we're going to do for this row is we're just going to continue with the white, and we're going to chain 2, and in the next, and every stitch around, we're going to put a double crochet, except in the corners, we're only going to put 1 double crochet instead of 2. Double crochet. So for every one of these blocks, you should have 3 double crochet. And in the corners, there should be 1 double crochet in each corner. Okay? So you go all the way around. This kind of rounds off the outside, so it starts turning into a hat instead of a square. And I apologize because I got discombobulated in that last row because the mail lady came and she's worried about the one neighbors I do like. She said their mailbox is overflowing and asked if I've seen them, and I'm like, no, I haven't seen them. I'll check the cameras. And the last time they were on my cameras was Halloween morning, and it occurred to me they didn't pass out candy on Halloween morning, which means they're probably out of town, but a little concerning because they're older, and yeah. Tells you how crazy life has been when my favorite neighbors are actually missing in action and I didn't notice that they haven't been around. Because I've been so busy, I haven't actually noticed anything that's going on outside. So just double crochet all the way around this row. Oreo, are you alright? You are breathing so heavy. You just got old lady or what? You can't breathe because you're old? She's like, no, I was sleeping. Why are you waking me up? Oops. And Bentley's laying directly behind me. He ain't making half as much noise as you're making, weirdo. I learned the concept of turning a granny square into a hat years and years and years ago. It was like the beginning of the channel. And the idea of turning a square into a round hat was just mind-blowing to me. I could not fathom that. I was like, what? You can do that? You can turn a square into a circle? And of course, over the years, I have also turned circles back into squares several times in granny square. So you'll do a circle in the center and turn that into a granny square. But like, it just blew my mind. Like, you can do that? What? Alright. Just double crocheting our way around. Remember, we're only putting 1 double crochet in that corner to try to round off the corners a little bit. And if your corners are curling up like mine are, you're doing it the right way. And of course, like I said, my hat is going to be bigger than yours because I have a big head and I have a lot of hair. So my hat is going to actually look bigger than yours, but if your hat is looking like this one, you're good to go. See how it's got that cool point right there? And then it eventually rounds out the more rows we do in the round. Alright, let me see where I am in my pattern. I have this all written down. 1 more double crochet, slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 we did. Alright, let's see. What the heck row am I on? Alright, now we're going to grab the not the single. I mean, we're doing singles, but grab the colored, just like we have every other row, pull the white tight, get it white, get it tight. Alright, now we're going to single crochet all the way around. That's all we're going to do. We're just going to single crochet just like we did the double crochet. We're going to single crochet all the way around. This adds a really fun little detail. It'll look like this when we get done. That's what we're creating right here. Which reminds me of Christmas lights. That's what that reminds me of. Now, I'm probably going to say this in the beginning, at least I hope I remember to. You don't have to do this in Christmas colors if you don't like Christmas colors. If you just want to make a pretty hat, you can do this in any variegated with a white yarn. You could do this in black with a variegated yarn. I'm thinking black with neon variegated yarn would be fantastical. That would just like be extra. So think outside the Christmas box. You can alter all of my patterns in any way, shape, or form that you see fit. You can. We're just going to single crochet all the way around. And I'm going to pause and I'll meet you at the end of the row because I don't want to make this video 8 hours long. Just keep single crocheting in each stitch. Alright, now I slip stitched to join. I made it all the way around. This is what it should look like. Okay. I'm going to drop the colored again and grab the white. Remember, put your colored to one side, your white to the other so what doesn't tangle, and drop the yarn that direction when you pick up the one from this direction, okay? It will just make your life easier. Alright, now I am going to slip stitch the white into the color, pull the color down. Okay. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to do increases in this row. It's a little bit of shaping. So this part is going to fit. If you don't do increases in this row, this will fit a smaller head, like teeny bopper size, maybe like young tween. It will fit that size head if you don't do increases here. If you do increases here, you're going to make it a little bit bigger so it fits like a normal person size head. So we're doing increases because we need to. Okay, we're going to chain 3. In that same stitch, we're going to put a double crochet. That's our increase. And then we're going to go around and we're going to do, let's see. See, I wrote this in code. Now I'm trying to remember what I meant when I said this. Alright, so we're going to do 13. I think that's what I meant. No. Do 5 stitches. So 5 double crochets, 1 in each of the next 5 stitches. So 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 2 double crochets in that same stitch. It's just going to give it a little bit extra room for us people with normal size heads. Like I said, if you don't have, and we're going to do this all the way around. So 5 double crochet, 2 double crochet in the same stitch. All the way around. If you have a smaller head, don't increase on this row. If you have like a much smaller head, like a kid size head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 2 double crochet together. Now what you can do if you want to know what size this hat's going to be if you don't do the increases is fold it in half. But remember, I added the extra row, so mine's going to be different than yours. So you're going to have to measure your own. And then just measure this part right here. And whatever this number is, double it. That's the circumference of your hat. For me, I'm at 20 inches because I added the extra row. If you didn't add that extra row, you're going to be at a smaller number. So use that to determine whether you need to add this increase row or not. I'm pretty sure you're going to need to, otherwise it's going to be a really small hat for a little kid. So we're doing 5 double crochet. And then an increase, which is 2 double crochet in the same stitch. All the way around. If the math is correct, you should be adding about 13 stitches across this row. 2, 3, 4, Unless, of course, you did that extra row like I did, then that number might be 14. So 5 double crochet. And then 2 double crochet in 1 stitch. And I meant to pause, but we're just going to finish out this row. And then we're going to get on to the most complicated part of this entire hat, which is not that hard. And I'm going to give you an alternate way to do this. If it is just too hard for you to see the stitches, because that's going to be the hardest part, is being able to see the stitches of this next section. So like I always do, I give you a way to alter this, because I don't want any of my patterns to be so difficult you're struggling, like I just cannot get this, and then you throw that in the garbage and you're just done. I don't want that for any of my patterns, so that's why I give you guys ways to alter it, because I know not all of our visions are the same. Some of us have a harder time seeing. Some of us are not experienced enough to be able to tell where the stitches are, and that's going to be the hardest part of this next section of the hat. So we're just going to prepare. Don't be scared. We're going to do it together. I'm going to tell you how to do it, and then I'm going to tell you a way to do it differently in case you hate it and can't do it. Now, if your stitches are even, because you didn't add that extra row like I did, congratulations. Well, my stitches are not going to be even right here, so I'm not going to end on 5. I'm actually missing a stitch, but it will be fine. We got to the end, we slip stitch into that very first stitch. I'm going to drop the white, pick up the colored. Alright. This is where we're learning a new stitch, okay? Let me pull out extra yarn, take a drink of my soda. This is the new stitch we're doing. Let me turn my page. This is called the herringbone half double crochet moss stitch, okay? That's combining 2 stitches together, all right? I saw this on Jan Crochet, and she uses it for her mittens, and I'm like, oh, we're doing that. We are doing that. All right. So I'm going to slip stitch back into here just to make sure I have a good anchor point and that stitch isn't pulling. All right. I'm going to chain 1. Now we're going to wrap this, and we're going to go right back into the same stitch like we're making a half double crochet, okay? When you pull up a loop, pull it through that second loop right there, okay? So that you have 2 loops left on your hook. Pull through both of those loops and then chain 1. Right? Got it? Now we're going to skip the next stitch, which is right here, and go to the next stitch, and we're going to do that again. Wrap your yarn like you're making a double or a half double. Go in, pull up a loop, but also pull through that middle loop right there. You should have 2 on your hook. Pull through both of them. Chain 1. Not that hard, right? The next part is where it gets a little bit more hard, but it'll be fine. Do we have enough light? I feel like this, I'm in a shadow. We wrap our yarn, skip the next stitch, go into the next one, wrap our yarn, go in, pull up our loop, but also pull through that second stitch, and then pull off both. Chain 1, wrap, skip the next stitch, go in the stitch after that, pull up a loop, but also pull through the middle one, pull through both, chain 1, skip the next one, wrap our yarn, pull up a loop and pull off that loop, and then pull off 2, chain 1. I'll put my glasses on. I feel like it's really dark in this room, and it's daylight and the lights are all on, but I still feel like I'm having troubles. Alright, wrap, skip the next stitch, pull up a loop and pull through that, where we wrapped, pull off 2, chain 1. I'm just going to go real slow so we can skip the next stitch, wrap, pull up a loop and pull off that first loop, pull off both, chain 1. Continue that around, all the way around. You need to rewind it a bunch of times. You go right ahead and do that, okay? You can even slow my video down if you need to. Just push the little gear button on the side from your phone. This is the herringbone moss stitch. Herringbone half double crochet moss stitch. All the way around. Don't forget to skip one. That's why we're chaining one in between. Chain 1, skip 1. Herringbone half double. Chain 1, skip 1. This is like a cool texture. It is unique in the way that it looks. I've never seen anything that looked quite like this. And I really liked it, so. Keep going around. I'm going to pause. I'm going to finish this row. I'll meet you at the end of the row. You got this. You can do it. Alright, I got back around to the beginning. And I'm going to slip stitch to the top of that herringbone. This is where it gets a little funky, okay? Chain 1 here. We are going to be working just like we did here. We're going to be working in the previous round, the row, okay? So we're going to be working in between these spaces into this stitch here, around here into this stitch. Now this row is going to be a lot easier to see because there's a division between the color than the following subsequent rows, because this is going to be a little bit harder to see. I'm going to show you how to be able to see it, but I'm also going to tell you, if you absolutely don't care about this section on this cool detail, you can just do 4 rows of straight half double crochet and it will give you a similar effect. If you just cannot manage this part, just do like 4 rows. I think it's 4 rows we did. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I did 7 rows of half double crochet of this section. I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 7. Alright, so we're going to do 7 rows of this, or you can do 7 rows, or whatever equates to 2 inches about of half double crochet. Okay? So we're going to do this for about 2 inches. That way we ain't got to count rows. If this section here is 2 inches, 2 1/4 inches, you can stop. Alright? I thought it was 4 rows. I wrote it down as 4 rows, but apparently I did not count correctly because I was doing this in the middle of the night last night. Alright, so now we chained 1. We're going to wrap our yarn and we're going to go down around here just like we did. It's still the same stitch. Okay, pull it up. Pull through that first loop right there. Pull off both. Chain 1. Skip over here into this space. We're going to do it down here now. Same thing. It's the same stitch. It's the same moss stitch, or the herringbone. It's the same herringbone half double crochet, except we're working in this right here. We're skipping where this hole is. We're working around the chain 1 of the last row. Did I do that right? Sometimes I go into autopilot and I'm like, did I just do that correctly? I don't know if I did that right. Alright, so it's the same stitch, except now we're putting it in this space here below and going over and around this part. Okay, I'll show you kind of slow. It's the same stitch. Herringbone, half double crochet, moss stitch, chain 1, go to the next space, chain 1. If you need to, stick your finger in there. If you could stick your finger in there, that's the hole. That's the correct place. Now see, when we're going around to this next row, it's a little bit harder to see just because these colors kind of like pull together and there's not a separation of color. So that's why I said if you just cannot figure out where your holes are and this frustrates you, I mean, try this stitch first because it's cool. But if you just cannot and you're just getting irritated, just switch over to half double crochets in the round. It will be fine. Your hat will be beautiful and it will be fine. Or if you know how to just do the herringbone half double crochet, which is basically this, without the chain 1 and then go into the next stitch, you can do that as well. You just need it for about 2 inches. 2 inches of that, and it will work out. I'd never seen it done as a herringbone moss stitch, and I just thought it was cool and I liked the way the texture looked. And so that's why we're doing it, because I wanted to have something different in here. Alright, you guys, I'm going to skip to the end of this row because what I really need to show you is the next row. So I can tell you once again, you need to find where your fingers fit in and then work in the stitch below that and around that. See that? So I'm going to finish this row because this row is much easier to see for you. And it's just exactly the same as we did in the last row, except we're working around the post and in the previous row. Alright, we are we? Yeah, we're at the end of the row. Alright, do our chain 1, connect in, and this is the end of the row. See what I mean? Even I can't tell, and I literally created this. Alright, now, I think there's supposed to be a stitch. Hang on, I'm going to add one more stitch there. I feel like there was supposed to be a stitch there. Yeah. No, there's not a hole there. I think if I recall, there was a missing stitch when I ended the row. Alright, now we're at the end of the row. We can connect it up here. There we go. Chain 1 again. Now, like I said, this is what your hat should look like. See, there's just a slight hint that there's a granny square underneath there. And when you fold it over, just a slight hint, like it's very, very minor that there should be a granny stitcher. Alright, now, this is the row where it's a lot harder to see. So if you need to stick your fingers in every hole as you go around to see where you need to put your stitch at, that's what you need to do, okay? So I chained 1, I'm going to wrap the yarn, and I'm coming over here, which is the next section over, and I'm going to go into this stitch down here, okay? Which is the top of the herringbone stitch right here. See that? It kind of looks like a triangle a little bit. We're going to wrap our yarn, go into that stitch around the previous row, pull up a loop, and we're still doing the moss stitch, chain 1, come over again, find our hole, pull our yarn. There's like a little triangle here. This is the hardest part of this stitch, is seeing where you need to put your stitch, okay? So it doesn't have to be perfect at this point. You just need to kind of like, oh, there's like a weird lump right here. I need to put my stitch right there. This is the hardest part of the stitch. I barely struggled with it last night, but I'm really good at being able to feel where the stitch needs to be. So there's like a little bump there. Put the stitch in that. Chain 1, skip over until you find the next hole and work in the previous bump, okay? And like I said, if you get to this point, you're like, I just cannot do this. I can't see it. I'm struggling. Half double crochets will work. Herringbone half double crochets will work. If you want to put another textured stitch in here you like, you can do that. It's your hat. I'm not going to be mad if you change the stitches. Not at all. You do you, boo. We got this. Alright. So we're just going to do this. We're going to continue this in the round until this colored section is about 2 1/4 inches. Alright. So, you got it? Alright, I'm going to pass this off to you. I'm going to turn my Christmas music back on. And I'm going to knock this out of the park. And I will be back when it's time to do the next section, which will be much easier. The whole rest of the hat is much easier than what we're doing right here. This isn't hard. It's just hard until you get used to where the stitches are at and what it's supposed to look like. So this is what it should be looking like at this point. This post is what makes it the moss stitch. See, there's a post there. Post there, 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 there. So that's what it should look like. Just try to, if you feel like it's getting like too wavy, you're adding too many stitches. If it's getting smaller, you're not adding enough stitches in the right places. You got this though. Just like seriously feel for the hole and then look at the bump directly below it. Do your moss stitch or your herringbone, chain 1. Go to the next hole over. Right? And I will see you at the end of this section, which is about 7 rows, but this is really hard to tell what row is what because of the way the color is pooling and the way that the stitches are. So just aim for 2 1/4 inches. It will all work out in the end, I promise. And we'll move on to the easier part of the hat. Alright? I believe in you. Alright, we are at just about 2 inches. See that? Now, we're going to close this stitch off because there's still those holes there, so we want to close those off. So, what we're going to do is we are going to see, I worked in the round, so I didn't actually slip stitch to join, so we'll just slip stitch right there and pretend we're starting a brand new row. Alright, now, what we're going to do is we're going to continue putting the moss stitch here, the herringbone moss stitch, like we have been. We're not going to chain 1. So do that. Don't chain 1, and then in the next stitch, put a single crochet at the top of that. Okay? And then where your hole is, we're going to put the herringbone, half double crochet, don't chain 1, and then in the next stitch, put a single crochet. So if you see where the hole is, that's where the herringbone goes. Where the post is, that's where the single crochet goes, okay? And this is just to close this row off so that we have a solid base to work from so there's not any holes when we're finished right there. And herringbone, no chain 1, single crochet. Herringbone in the drop down row, single crochet in the post, and it will just close it off right there. Alright, we're going to do that for this row, and then we're going to switch back to the white, I think. Yes. So the next row is going to be real easy. It's just going to be half double crochets. Just regular old half doubles. Now, if you're a newbie and you haven't tried a whole lot of different stitches, this is going to test you because we got quite a few different stitch changes in here. But nothing we can't handle, nothing too difficult. Herringbone, single crochet. Herringbone, single crochet. You hear little man in another room. He is puppy sitting because him and I are the only ones home as of right now. And he's just keeping an eye on the puppies, which he is very glad to do. If If you don't know, if you're new here, if you've never been to my channel before and you just came for this hat, we are fostering 3 very small puppies. Little man is my 10-year-old son, and it's been a good experience for the most part. I'm ready for this section of my life to be over with and go back to some more calm, because I didn't realize how much work 3 puppies were. They are currently, as of the release date of this video, which is November 21st, I think, they are up for adoption at Old Dominion Humane Society. They're very sweet little boys. They are mixed breeds. They don't know what breeds they're mixed with. They were on the euthanasia list and they were saved, and we're taking care of them until they are old enough and safe enough to go into their permanent homes. Alright, I'm going to finish off this row. Oops. And then I'm going to have to change my battery because I didn't realize it was dead already. Alright. Last stitch of the row, slip stitch to join. Now we get to drop the color and pick up the white. And this is the easiest part of the whole hat. We're just going to do half double crochet in the round. All the way around. Just half double crochet this row, and then the next row is going to be half double crochet too, but it's going to be in the 3rd loop to give us a little ridge, which is not difficult. It's just you got to learn where to put your stitch, your hooks. It's all about stitch recognition. Alright, so that's what this row is going to look like. Half double crochet all the way around. I'll meet you at the end of this row and show you how to do the next row of half double crochet in the 3rd loop. Alright, we ended the row off. We're going to slip stitch to join, chain 1, and now we have to kind of turn our work this way. Don't flip it all the way over, but we need to see the back side of them stitches. The back side of stitches. Alright. Because we are, instead of working on the top part of the stitches, like normally if we're going to do a half double crochet, we would work across the top here and get both of those loops. Okay, we're not doing that. We're working all the way back here. Okay, so if this is the top part of the stitch, flip it over, we're going to be working right here, right there. Okay, not here and here. Just this single stitch right here. We're going to work into that, okay? Familiarize yourself with how that's supposed to look. If you've ever done any of my previous hats, you will see this stitch many times because I like this stitch. You're just going to make a half double crochet in that stitch, okay? And it will look like that at first, all right? Half double crochet, flip your work towards you. Trying to make it so that part is in focus. Flip. Alright, wrap our yarn right here, right there. Okay, half double. I'm going to get a stitch in each one of these stitches all the way around the bottom loop, right there, right there, right there, right there. Okay. And I keep hitting the camera with my finger. We're just going to half double crochet in that 3rd loop only, all the way around. And what it causes the stitch to actually flip forward, so you're looking at the top part. So this top part here, this top part flips forward, and so you're looking at the face of that because you're technically working the way back of the stitch. And this is what it looks like when it's all said and done. It just has a nice little ridge there. Okay. So do that all the way around. Half double crochet in the 3rd loop only. Create that cool little ridge. That's what it should be looking like. All the way around. And I will meet you at the end of the row. Now, if you need help with that, just rewind it again and just keep looking. Like, this is the front. This is what the stitch looks like in the front. That's the top. And then that's the back. So see, it just takes a little bit of a flip. See how there's a V there? Just that bottom loop right there. That's what you grab. Okay? And I will meet you at the end of this row. It is easy sailing from this point on, guys. That was the hardest part of the hat. The rest is easy peasy lemon squeezy. Or easy peasy Christmas treesies. Alright, we are at the end of the row, and we know we're at the end of the row because there's this weird funky stitch happening right here. Like, it kind of goes, and you'll see like a break. Alright, we got our last stitch we're going to put in. So we got to kind of finagle in there because that's where the green got attached. And then slip stitch to the top of this row. Alright, now drop the white. I'm going to grab the green. I'm going to do a row of single crochets in the color. This ain't green, it's colored, but we'll do single crochets all the way around, just like we did up here. Just for that little detail of color. Single crochets. I gotta flip my page because we're on the next section. Although the next section is so easy, like I said, it's smooth sailing at this point. Everything we're doing now, we've already done. And we're at the bottom of the hat. Now, if you're making this hat for a little kid, and it was much smaller, you're probably not going to be able to go much further than this. This will be your last section if you're making the smallest size where you didn't do the increases. But for us, we still have a couple more rows to go. That white stitch popped up and my brain went, did you drop the color and grab the white? Because it's like the same exact shade of white. No, it's just there's white in that color, but it's just white. This is such a fun hat to make. And like I said, it doesn't have to be Christmas colors. You can do any colors you want. Premier Basics has a blue variegated. And I think the regular line, but also the sparkle line. And I think that would make such a beautiful version of this hat. And I thought I had one. Because I was going to use the blue for the tutorial. Because I already made one in the red and white and green. And I don't know where it's at. Or if I still have it. Or if I used it in another project last year. Which I believe that I probably did. But this would be so beautiful in blues and whites. And also, this would be gorgeous with a black base and like neons or hot pink or any of those colors instead of this variegated. It would just be beautiful. You don't have to do, if you find this to be busy, you don't have to do a variegated yarn. I mean, I like the way the variegated yarn looks, but I like working with variegated. If you want to go ahead and do this with just two solid colors, you could do that too. I would not do this hat with self-striping yarn because it will just look weird. I mean, you could try, but I wouldn't use self-striping. I know because this is a self-striping yarn and I didn't like the way it turned out. So I ran out here, didn't know I had more. So apparently I didn't put all my Christmas yarn in the same place like I thought I did. Or I ordered Christmas yarn in the middle of the year and didn't realize it and put it away somewhere else. I hope you guys are enjoying this tutorial with me. Alright. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and move on to the next row, which is just switching back to the white and doing another row of single crochet while I finish this up. So when you get to the end of the colored row, pick the white back up and do a row single crochet. You guys don't really need to see that part. and I will meet you at the end of the white single crochet row. Alright, if you made it through this far, we're slip stitch in to join for this row, and we got an update on the neighbor situation. They are in fact out of town and their mail was supposed to be on hold, so he asked for us to go grab it, which is cool. No more worries about the neighbor. Alright, now we're pretty far in the hat. We're to this part. All we gotta do is this part, which you're already familiar with, because that's what we did up here. Okay, now try the hat on at this point. It might fit you. It might be long enough. If you have a small little head, you may be able to stop at this point. For me, not even close. Alright, yeah, I still got a couple inches left where I gotta go. That's why we have you try this hat on. Perfectly beautiful hat just like this, but I'm going to be adding on a couple of rows of this. So we have 1, 2, 3 rows of granny, and then I finished it off in a single crochet, nope, half double crochet right here, and that's where we're at. So this row we are going to, and honestly, I'm thinking of changing this up a little bit, because you see how there's nothing in these spaces that's bothering me. So I think we're gonna change that up a little bit. So we're gonna switch back to the color. I'm gonna put a single crochet in that first stitch, chain 3. I'm gonna skip 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches. No, we're gonna still skip 3. It'll be fine. Put a single crochet, chain 3, skip 3, and in the 4th stitch, put a single crochet. Right? That's not what we did. I'm already confusing myself. It'll be fine. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the 4th, put a stitch. That will work. Yes. Yes. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 3, and in the 4th, put a single crochet. This will work. 1, 2, 3, skip 3, 2, 3, and in the 4th, put a single crochet. And this is going to be a row that we crochet over the top of, so it's not actually going to count as a row. 1, 2, 3, skip 3, in the 4th, single crochet. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and the 4th, single crochet. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the 4th. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and the 4th, put a single crochet, chain 3, skip 3, all the way around. I'll meet you at the end of the row. Alright, I had slightly too many stitches there, but I'm still just going to fudge it, and we're going to connect it. Okay, now I'm going to grab the white again, throw the color back to that side, grab the white. Alright, now in the center here, so because we skipped those 3 stitches, in the center 1, 2, 3, that second stitch we're going to put a granny stitch. So 3 double crochet, skip over, and in the center, 1, 2, 3, in that second stitch, we're going to put a granny stitch. We're going to do this all the way around. Oops. I often wonder what is going on in the center of the ball that there's just a random knot. Like, how does it knot itself? Yeah, that looks better. At least there's not an empty spot. You see how that's filled in? Whereas on this one, it's empty. Yeah, much better. Go to the center, and we're crocheting around the color just like we did at the top of the hat. Crocheting around the colored row just so there's a little pop, and it reminds me of Roses and the Vines crawling up lattice. That's what it reminds me of. So granny shell in the middle between those 2 single crochets in the previous row. all the way around. How long you need this hat to be will depend on how many rows we repeat of this. My first hat, I did 1, 2, 3 rows of the shells, and then like I said, I think this is a half double crochet row. You may only need 2 rows of shell, you may only need 1 row of shell, and that is okay. We just don't want the hat to be too long. We want it to fit your head. I'm going to at least do 2 rows because I make my hats extra long because I oftentimes will have a ponytail up underneath there. And my hair just needs the extra room for the hat. So I always make my hats a little bit longer than they need to be, so that if I need room for a ponytail, I have it automatically built in. You may not have a ponytail. You may not have hair. And that's okay. Just do however many rows till the hat is long enough for it to cover your ears or fit on your head the way that you like it to fit on your head. Okay? That's what we're aiming for. That's why I like to make my hat patterns. I like to make all my patterns completely customizable and give you options to change it out, so A, that you enjoy the project, but B, so that it fits you the way that you need it to fit, or the way that you want it to fit. Is that the right stitch? Yeah, too. Looked weird. Probably because that white stitch was there, so it gave an optical illusion that, like, there's more stitches there than we're supposed to be. Granny stitch all the way around. That's what we got working so far. I think it's pretty. I kept looking at that empty spot and I was like, it just needs something there. I couldn't figure out how I was going to add this in for that first row, and I'm glad we figured it out. Because that looks so much better than it empty. We are almost done with this hat, guys. I can hardly believe it. I really think when I'm done with this tutorial, though, while I'm editing it, I'm going to go make it in a different color as well. Because I want to see it in more than just Christmas colors. And I have a ton of this white yarn left over. This hat is beautiful. It's coming out really good. Now, if this is as long as you need your hat, and you don't need to add any more rows onto this, your options are for your next row to be a row of half double crochets in either the white or the green, whatever your choice, doesn't matter to me. Slip stitch to join here. You can do a row of half double crochets here. Just put a half double crochet in each one of the top of those double crochets. So for every shell you would have 3 half double crochets. And you can do it in the white or you can do it in the colored. Does not matter to me. I don't know. Let me try this on. I might not need another row. Oh, I definitely need one more row. Just one more row. So I'm going to do one more repeat on my hat of the colored. And I'll remind you how to do the colored. In case you're like me and you just need that extra row. So we slip stitch the white, we drop the white, pick up the colored, go over to the center of the block there, pick up the colored, chain 1, single crochet, chain 3, and then put the single crochet in the center block all the way around. Dogs are crazy. There's a lot going on in the house today. chain 3, go to the center of the block, the granny shell, all the way around, do that. And then for the next row, come back in with the white and put the granny shell in this chain space here, this chain space here, this chain space here, all the way around. That's how I'm going to finish the hat off. And then I'm going to add a finisher row of the half double crochet right here in the white. So when I get done with this row with this colored, I'm just going to cut it, tie it off, join the white back up. I'll walk you through that part in case you need to do this, because depending on gauge today, like, because today I only need 2 rows of this because I added an extra row at the top that I didn't add in that one. But if you're making a smaller size and you need more length and you need to add more rows like this, I'm showing you how to accomplish that. Chain 3, single crochet in the center. All the way around. I wonder if I can replicate a hat like this, except in knit. I know that I could. Might be something I'm gonna have to play with. Bentley just had to open the door right now. He didn't even stay. He just opened the door, walked in, and left again. Because Oreo was in his bed and he ain't happy. Alright, I'm going to slip stitch here. Cut the colored. Because we're done. The colored. I'll weave this in when we're done. Bring that white back up. And now I'm just going to grab the white. Because I cut the color, I don't need to use that color to tie it off. I'm going to grab the white over here and then chain 3 and then make my granny stitch over here in the granny stitch area around that colored area. And you guys don't need to see me finish the hat off. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do a row of half double crochets on top of this. We're going to call it a day. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. If you make this hat, share it on all of the social medias and tag me so that I can see it. Facebook group, Instagram. You send it to my email if you don't have either of those. That's fine. I just want to see it. I want to see what you made. I want to see what colors you used. I want to see what variations you used. I'm going to see what size you chose to do, because as you can tell, Cinema Stitches has a very large head. I have a big head. Everyone in my family that lives in my house has a big head. Well, my niece, who lives here part-time, does not have a large head. She has an average size head. But she's also only 5 foot. I think she's 5'1", 5'2". Somewhere around there. So she's small everywhere. Like, you know, she's just way tinier than us. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I do hope you enjoyed it. I really want to see you guys do this in different colors, because I want a blue one. I gotta see if I have blue yarn, but I definitely want a blue one. And I definitely want a black and neon one. Which one I make next, I have no idea, but yeah. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.